Okay, so tonight we are starting week 7, which is pretty exciting because there are 8 weeks to this class. So we are definitely on the downhill piece. You all turned in your report project. I'm sorry, you turned in your informational report last week. I was looking at the wrong syllabus. You guys turned in your informational report last week, and now you're working on your recommendation report, and it's a recommendation from that informational report. So I'm grading those now. I'm going to have them all graded by tomorrow night. So hopefully by Wednesday morning, you all will all have those graded so that you'll feel comfortable going on to this next piece. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen with you. Okay. Just trying to get my little slideshow to work, but I think my computer is like, I'm doing too many things. But you guys can see, right? Slides?
Yeah.
No? Okay, great. Okay, so I don't know why it doesn't want to work, but there's just some things that we just don't have answers to all the time. So last week, you guys posted your recommendation report and you did your review. Project 2, and so then this week, you guys are going to look for solutions to your informational report in Project 2, and that's going to form your recommendation report. You're going to submit small writing assignment number 3. We're going to talk about that, and there is no discussion forum this week, so you don't have to do that. Okay, so this is the recommendation report is the biggest piece of your of the class. It's 25% of your grade, and your report has to be a minimum of 2,000 words in length. So it's a long one. You've got a week to do it, which is not very much time. So you definitely want to, you do not want to wait till Thursday to do this. You really want to be, I know you guys have already been thinking about it as you're writing your informational report, but you definitely want to be on top of that. So you're going to write a recommendation report for the problem in your community that you analyze in the information report. Your recommendation report should present information and offer suggestions about what the readers ought to do next. And let me see if I can get this T in the right place. The project is worth 25% of your grade, so keep that in mind. So the format, you're going to offer recommendations based on your analysis. Write the report to the same audience as received the informational report. So kind of think about that same community. Your recommendation should include the front matter, body, and back matter. We're going to go over all of those pieces. And your book has a really good chapter on these pieces, so we're going to look at that too. All elements of the report listed in the assignment are required. So just to show you where, can you guys see my Blackboard, seeing and learning?
Yeah.
Or do I need to share it again? You guys got it? Can see it? Okay. So let's look in your guys' class in 103. And I'll kind of show you where to, if you don't know, I'll show you where to download your assignment. There you go. So if you come down here to course assignments, turn assignments in here. Wait. And come down here to project 3. You can download the PDF. I would suggest you do that on this project because there are a lot of pieces, and you want to make sure you get all of the pieces because you don't, this is turned in and then it gets graded. So there's just like, there's no leeway here. So you want to have So this delineates all the pieces you're going to need in the front matter, the body of the report, and then the back matter. So we're going to go over this, but I suggest you download this and just maybe even just check off as you've done it. Anyway, that's what I would do, because you know, kind of how that works for me. Okay. Let me see if it'll let me do my slideshow this time. Okay, guys can see the slides? Yep. Okay, great. So the format is you write a recommendation report. All the elements are required. And the front matter. So the front matter is a common thing in reports and proposals. It kind of gives context to the readers about what the whole report is about. And you can see in chapter 13, and let me get you the page number for that. If you've got your book handy. On page 357, you've got a sample recommendation report, and you're going to see like all the pieces that we're about to talk about. So if you want to look at them and see what they look like here too, it will give you some better ideas. So you're going to have, the first thing is a letter of transmittal. So that can be a letter, like in block letter format, or it can be a memo. And what it is like, instead of just, you know, handing somebody a report or just having it show up somewhere, you give them a letter so you know who it's going to and who it's from, right? So you can do a memo or a letter, either one. And then after that, you're going to introduce, and in the letter, you introduce the primary reader to the purpose and content of the report. So remember who your audience is in the community. Brian, if I could pick on you with the speeding, then your audience is probably going to be the police. Am I right? Or is it going to be city council? Police, if I'm lip reading correctly.
City council.
City council. Okay, I am not a proficient lip reader. Okay.
All right.
So, city council. So then you would have like, it would be to the city council from Brian Lopez, and then you would give a little outline of what it is. So in much of these things, like, you have repeated information. So the information in the letter of transmittal, it's going to be also like the information you have in the abstract, which is also going to be some of the information you have in the summary. Do you see? So don't worry that you're repeating the same thing. It's totally fine. That's just how this stuff works. So that's the first thing you have, is letter transmittal. The second thing you have is a cover sheet and a title page. And you can put an image on that if you want, however you want to do it. And then you're going to have an abstract, 150 to 200 words, provides a brief technical summary of the report. So you might want to list some keywords that facilitate electronic search if students are interested, for readers that are interested in the issue. Do you know what I mean? So they could just like search the report electronically as opposed to try to dig through and find information. So the abstract is total spoilers. It's like, it tells you what you're talking about, what your recommendation is, right? So don't like leave that for a surprise at the end. The abstract has, I should be able to read the abstract and not read the report. Okay, so keep that in mind. All the information in the report should be in the abstract, just a lot shorter. Then you're going to have a table of contents. I suggest doing the table of contents in MS Word and highlighting the headings and coding those in MS Word, and then making the table of comments, table of contents through that. If you don't know how to do that, when we're done with class today, I can hang out and I can show you how to do it. That's my suggestion. It's just a much easier way to do the table of contents. And you can do the list of illustrations the same way. If you have an illustration and you put in a caption, and if you don't know how to do that, I can show you how to do that as well. And then it has a list of illustrations, or it could be a list of figures, either one of those. So, And then it creates it for you, just like it does the table of contents. It's just much, much easier that way. The executive summary is 1 page. So the abstract is a brief technical summary, so it's shorter. The executive summary is longer. You can kind of see, like, when you read it, you've got on page 362, there's an example of an executive summary. And it's a brief condensation of the report addressed to your reader. It gives you background information, and then it gives the major findings. So like I said, you're going to repeat information a number of times through this, and just sort of know that that's sort of part of this process. Okay. Before I go on, does anybody have questions about these? Okay, good. Okay, so then the body of the report. So a recommendation report, again, you kind of look at this on chapter 13. You might be helpful. You're going to have an introduction. And then as you're writing, so personally, I write the methods, results, and conclusions and recommendations first, and I write the introduction last, because the introduction gives context to the whole piece. And sometimes I'm not really sure what the reader needs to know until I've written the whole thing. So that's me. So don't feel like you have to do this in order. If the research methods is the easiest one, or the results is the easiest one, then do the easiest one first and then do the others. You can do these all independently. But as you're writing the introduction, you might want to read these little questions out loud to yourself. They're very helpful. What's the subject? What's the purpose? What's the background? That's kind of one of the most important questions here, is how do you give context for this report? What are your sources? What's the scope? What are the most significant findings? What are your recommendations? What is the organization of the report? What key terms? So all of that goes in the introduction. And then research methods is, how did you do what you did? You kind of went over this in the information report. So you can use some of these same pieces from your information report. So out of the 2,000 words for this, you're going to have a lot of words that are repeated, or, sections that are kind of repeated, and you're going to have sections you're going to be able to pull out of your last paper. So keep that in mind. But this one is going to be new. So your results section is going to be your conclusions. Well, it's going to be, what did you see? And then the conclusions, I guess the conclusions is the part, and the recommendations part that's kind of new. So the research methods and the results may be from your last one, but the conclusions and recommendations will be new. So what does it mean? And then what should we do and how should we do it? So all of that's the body of the report. Okay. So the last is the back matter. So you have the front matter, and then you have the report, and then you have the back matter. So the back matter might include the following items. It could include a glossary. If you're using a lot of terms people don't really know, you might include a glossary. You might have, you are going to have references, so that's where they go. And you may be able to practically use the reference list from your first report. Okay, so that's going to be used here as well. And then if you have an appendices, like, no, I don't know why I can't seem to spell this. Whoops, sorry. I didn't need to do that. I don't know why I can't seem to spell appendices correctly. It's a C. But anyway, you're going to, you might have like charts, you might have budgets. I'm not sure what you might have, but you could have other things in there, but you're definitely going to have your references. So that's the back matter. So you have front matter, report, and back matter. Questions? Okay, so the one thing you're going to need to turn in this week is small writing assignment 3. And you're going to write a memo to the audience for project 2. You're going to summarize the major elements of your recommendations. You're going to format the memo like you would, I suggest using the memo template for MS Word. And there's a couple of pages in the book, you can see the example, and it's going to be 350 to 400 words. So this small writing assignment 3 is actually going to be, I mean, you're going to use parts of this for your executive summary and your abstract. You see how these kind of overlap? So you're going to be able to use the same kinds of things a few different times. So even though it's a lot of writing this week, you will, you're going to be able to reuse some of your pieces. Okay. The rhetorical situation, you're going to read the sample internal proposal, proposal for the tablet study, and that's on 357 to 358 here in your book, and the chapter 16 writing proposals. So small writing assignment will be part of your, not really a proposal, it's really your recommendation. So you should include a purpose statement, a summary, and an introduction. So all of those pieces. So you're going to write 250 words covering the major elements of the recommendations. Should include the necessary background, define the problem, describe the proposed recommendations, provide a summary of the schedule. Introduction, start with a little background information, significance of the issue, short summaries of all recommendations, one paragraph of the major recommendations, and then a conclusion. And cite your sources for that as well. So that's going to be in the small writing assignment. Okay, are there questions about the small writing assignment? You guys good? Okay, so we're going to look at format, presentation, grammar, you know, kind of all the things that we usually look at for grading for these. And then, so that's here in week 7. And then next week, week 8, you're going to do a peer review and turn in your recommendation report. So you're going to want to have your peer review finished by, you want to have your report finished by a week from this Wednesday. So kind of plan out what you need to do. You're going to need to do a small writing assignment this week. And so that will kind of force you to do like the introduction and abstract basically. And so you'll kind of have that piece already done. So you might just want to sort of chunk out what pieces you need to do by then. But that's week 8, so that'll be the end of our little short time together. I know. It's been kind of an exciting summer, but short together. Okay. Probably a little too exciting. We could probably have done with a little less excitement this summer. So, do we have any questions about the project 3 or small writing assignment 3? Small writing assignment 3 is due on Sunday. Project 3 is due next Sunday. And I'll have the other ones finished. So when you get my comments back from your informational report, you're just going to have a little better idea of how to move forward. And I'll also try to give you, if I feel like that there's something you've done that you might want to watch out for, then I'll give you that feedback. So. Okay. Thanks, everybody.